So as of this month, I am 6 months into my retirement journey. So I thought I'd reflect a little bit about the joy, the beauty of it, the struggle of it, share some thoughts of what's going on with me today in this season. It might be interesting for you, and it might be interesting for me a year from now. So if we haven't met, welcome. My name is Kim. This is my retirement season where I am working out life after work, building new rhythms, finding meaningful work to do, and being of service in this season of retirement. I'm so glad you're here. You know, there's a lot I talk about in seasons. It is a theme of my life. There was seasons of my youth, of school, of building career, of building family, and this is my retirement season. But in each one of those seasons, there was some kind of cycle of growth, right? We learn new skills and take on new things. And in our earlier years, we graduated to the next level. In our careers, we maybe got new skills and titles and responsibilities. So there was an outward reflection of the growth that was occurring. But in this season, it's really growth in the roots, right? And so it's a season for me of pruning off old expectations, pruning off, frankly, some old dreams or some thoughts of what dreams I should have had in order to make room for the new. So, you know, if you grow flowers or if you have a vineyard, you're not going to let everything that sprouts take off because it's going to take resources from that main thing that you want to grow, that prize grape. I have no idea about growing a vineyard, but I've heard this about growing that perfect rose. And so you don't want its resources taken up by other things that maybe are good, but they're not what's best for you, for that next phase or that next season of your life. And so I think when we do that, we get to go a little deeper in just a few things. And while I'm still experimenting and trying different things, I'm really trying to focus in on what are the things that align with the values that I have of faith, family, relationships, health, and work that I can really prune down and hone in on. And I don't know about you, but sometimes when I get rid of some of those things, I find myself a little bit bored. I find myself in a place of boredom thinking, but shouldn't you be producing something? You know, I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, the worst thing to say was that you were bored because you would certainly get some work handed to you in the form of a broom or a mop bucket or whatever. You know, so you never wanted to say you're bored, but I think recently I've heard quite a few discussions on really embracing the art of boredom because that's where creativity happens. That's where your thoughts get to have their own space. And, you know, one of the angles they have about this is, you know, putting your phone down or just don't being distracted by all sorts of things. Just sit in the boredom a little bit and let your creativity flow. And I think that's good, but I think even if it's not electronic, if it's trying to fill your day up with all the things so that you don't notice that you're bored or you don't have anything to do, can probably be equally detrimental. So that's what I'm practicing now. It's not something I'm very skilled in. I'm not a fan of being bored, and I'm happy to go work. But I don't sense that that's what this season is calling me to. I really sense a need to have space for creativity, to feel God stirring in places I may not have known before. And so it's an interesting tension that I'm held with, because the question I'm faced with is, should I just retire? Should I just be retired? Or do I go build something? Because all of my life I've built something, a career, a family, a home, relationships, places to be, places to go. So retirement is, for me, has not been as much of a joy as I had expected it to be, just to be honest. There are friends and family that have told me, and that I've seen, say, well, when I'm retired, I'm going to do all things I've been dreaming about doing. And I thought, wow, I don't have any of that. So I am seeking out new things. I told you, doing a little watercolor, and, I do spend quite a bit of time in the pool now that I'm in Arizona. I absolutely love the water. It is so relaxing and so beneficial for me, at least. So I'm enjoying that. But one of the things I'm not doing when I'm outside in the pool, which I used to do, I would turn on an audiobook or I would turn on music. I'm actually letting it be quiet and just listening to the thoughts that are going on in my mind and letting my mind wander. And I've come up with quite a few interesting thoughts and ideas for maybe the next season. I don't know. We'll see. The thing that I know is this is not the season for me to figure out what to do. It's the season for me to figure out who I want to be. Who I want to be in the last however long I've got left of this life. So for me, I'm curious, have you ever had those thoughts like, what should I be doing? Or have you had a season of pruning, of feeling that things were being pulled away, either naturally or unnaturally, that sometimes things just disappear, but sometimes things are taken from you, or sometimes you just say, this doesn't serve me anymore. I don't rollerblade anymore. I don't do some of the things that I did in different seasons of my life for a bunch of different reasons. One is that health pillar that I talk about. But are there any ways that you have found to navigate this kind of a season that maybe you could help us out with? I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to meet you in the comments and see what thoughts you have for this retirement season. It's an interesting journey, documenting all of this on video and trying to work it out in my head before, during filming, and then after, and then hearing from others that maybe they're going through the same thing, or maybe, frankly, no, they figured out a way and they are straight on and at it. So thank you so much for being with me today, for spending a little time, and I will see you in the next one.